Hello and welcome to the Blackout Podcast, where I get to talk to amazing people who do amazing things. And today I have Fantanesh Attomsa, the owner and founder of Blue Nile Massage and Wellness. Thanks for coming to the podcast today.
Thank you.
Man, I remember first time I saw you was that I was Tia Upshaw was doing like a thing celebrating Black. Like first off, that was an amazing because I've never seen so many Black women entrepreneurs in one place. So that was a blessing to be there. But then getting to find out that like there's this place owned by a female or a woman of color that does the thing to do is like mind blown. Why did you decide to start Blue Nile?
Well, Blue Nile originally, that wasn't the first name when I first started the business, but I came out of school, graduated as a registered massage therapist. And of course, you get in the industry and you're like, where's the representation? Where's our people? Where are the Black RMTs? I didn't see, at that time, I did not see any in our industry, honest to goodness. Maybe there was one. And then, of course, it reflects in the clientele. Like I was like, our community's missing out. They're not taking advantage of the therapeutic benefits of massage and holistic therapies because they don't see themselves represented in these spaces. So how can I change that? How can I create this space? And that's kind of how it started.
Wow.
Yeah.
And why did you want to be an RMT?
I fell into that. I fell into that. I wanted to be a social worker. That was something that I really was passionate about, is serving community. Now I get to do both, which is really nice. I'll always merge the two, but I actually didn't get accepted into my social work program that I wanted to get into. That's another story, but I didn't get accepted into it. So then I applied to the one at NSCC, and there was like a 2 or 3 year wait list.
Holy shit.
And I was like, okay, I want to, basically I was ready to go to school. I was like, I want to do something now. And my friend had graduated from the massage therapy program. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake. I was like, I'll just rub lotion on people all day. I was like, I can breeze through this. Like, it's going to be a breeze, and then I'll do my social work. And then it ended up being like a very like healing 2 years for me, like learning about holistic therapies and how I can heal myself through having a more holistic approach to my own health and focusing on maintenance and prevention and energy healing and spirituality. And these are kind of all the avenues you start to explore when you look at yourself more holistically. And I fell in love with it. And, it was a very intensive, it's heavily science-based. Like I hate science.
Why?
I hate science. I don't know. I understand it now because I understand energy now. And when I could relate the two, it made a lot of sense. But like all of like the like systemic anatomy and neuroanatomy and pathologies and physiologies and kinesiology, I wasn't prepared for any of that. But when I graduated, I focus. We do have the clinical aspect, but I like to focus more on the energy and the holistic aspect of it. So I found my avenue and I stuck to it. I never went back to social work.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're done and you're like, hey, where are the people of color? I don't see them. I mean, I guess what some people might be, I guess, encouraging people of color to study RNC, not to go and start their own business.
Yes.
Like, why did you decide to go that route, though?
To start my own. Again, it was just out of a need. I didn't see the opportunity there for me and for people that look like me. So I was like, I didn't always feel comfortable in some of the local spaces, and I wanted to really just kind of create that space for myself and for my community. I had no business experience. I didn't really know how intensive it can be. But you and I shared with you before, like my mom she's had a couple of businesses. She was a successful Black woman in business as well. So I think she's kind of built that drive and motivation in me a little bit. I just fell into it because, and a lot of Black entrepreneurs are like that. It's like we end up falling into entrepreneurship because either there's not an opportunity for us, there's not a space for us, or we're experiencing some sort of discrimination or like prejudice in other places. So it's like, we just get to a place where it's like we need to create these spaces for ourselves. And that's how we start that journey. I think that's what happened to me.
Then what was the process of starting Blue Nile? What was the name before you said the customer?
Oh, Jesus.
What?
It was embarrassing. That was an embarrassing name.
I think you're just being too hard on yourself. It cannot be that bad.
It was just a very ghetto name. Like it was called Fanta Karma Massage and Wellness. I don't even
Fanta Karma?
Fanta Karma. We just made up the word. It doesn't even have any meaning at all.
I thought it was part of like your name, kind of.
Well, Fanta, yes. Karma, like me and my just couple of friends were just talking. We're like, yeah, that sounds kind of cool. Let's just do it. And that's what it was for like the first year. And then
why did it change?
I just was like, I need to rebrand it. I didn't like it. I didn't like being in spaces where I was like saying that was the name of my business. I was like it's not gonna be able to grow with me. So I was like,
hi, I'm Fantanesh, and my company is
Fanta Karma Massage and Wellness. It just wasn't. I didn't know anything when I started the business. Right. I didn't know about like developing a logo, like having so much thought to put into a name that could grow with you. I didn't know what my brand was going to be like. I just knew that I wanted to like massage people in my own space. So I didn't like fully think about like branding and like marketing and opportunities that could come along with being in business. So I was like, just slap any name on there. And then when I really like spend some time in it, I was like, no, I need something else that will kind of represent where I am now and represent where I want to go. So.
But then how do you go from Fanta Karma
to Blue Nile?
Yeah, that's like two galaxies apart.
I know. I think I spend a lot of time like reflecting on like my values, who I am as a person, where I came from. Obviously the Nile is part of, it runs through Ethiopia. I have this Afrocentric view on life, and I really want to heal others. And I believe, like the Nile was a source of life for people and animals for so long. And I was doing like, soul searching and things like that. And blue, obviously, I just think it's like a very soothing color. And it was 2 syllables that just went well together. It wasn't complicated. I was like, okay, let's just roll with it.
Do you remember how it came to you, the name?
What's that?
Do you remember how the name came to you?
Came to me? I don't remember that moment. I feel like maybe I was like traveling or something, and then like I know there's like restaurants, like Nile restaurants, like in like Montreal and Toronto and stuff, and I was like, okay, how can I like incorporate that name into like what I'm doing? And it had to like really resonate with me, and I don't remember the day that we changed it. It just was like a gradual kind of, yeah.
Blue Nile is a beautiful name, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
And okay, so you have this name, the former name.
Yeah.
What did you have to do to build your business? At least starting out first.
What did I have to do to build it? I mean, of course, like I had to register it first. Had to invest in equipment, like my massage table, my lotions. I created a space in my home that I could treat people. So like at one point I was treating in like a storage closet, but it was big enough that I could like fit the table in there and everything. And then when I moved, I treated in my dining room. So my dining room was all curtained off. So we didn't even use the dining room. Like it was just my table. We had plants in there. There was like a beautiful window that like we could get natural sun in. And yeah, like I just slowly started adding pieces. And then when I wanted to rebrand and I had a little bit of extra money, I hired a marketing person who redid our website for us, and she redid the logo. She got all my branding content, like the fonts and all that stuff. And then, eventually we got a hold of this loan and we were able to do the commercial space. But it was just like a gradual kind of figuring things out as we go. Yeah.
Wow.
I can't tell you the step-by-step to business, because if I told you that, there would be so many moments where you went up and then you fell back, and then you went up and then you fell back. And it's like that was just a very condensed version, but that happened over 4 years.
And it's been 4 years now.
Almost 5. October will be 5 years.
Holy smokes.
And the amount of mistakes that, you made.
Can you share some mistakes that come to mind? Apart from the name first.
The name was the name was the first mistake. Yeah, that one was a big one. And then I think, for a long time, I was advertising on Kijiji and Facebook Marketplace, and as a massage therapist, never.
Why not?
Market on those places.
I mean, there's like a why? Anyway, I don't know anything about massage therapy.
So people, let me try to put this in a politically correct way.
I can't even imagine where this is going to go, but I have a feeling.
Okay, so we work hard as massage therapists to try to bring respect to our industry, right? As registered massage therapists, because people have this perception of massage therapists.
Oh, I think I know where it's
what
going.
We do, right? Exactly. It's like, they have all these ideas. So then all the creeps start messaging
right.
Like Kijiji was the worst.
Right. Because they're like, do you offer?
Yes. Is it like full body massage? Quotations. And you're like, yes. And that includes the head, neck, shoulders, arms, back, legs, and feet. That's it. And they're like, oh, is there anything else? I'm like, geez, yeah.
Oh my God.
So I stopped advertising.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
You know what? It's mostly guys, so I apologize.
Like, you apologize for the whole sex of
oh my God. Yeah, it's like, I didn't even think of that, but yes, obviously.
God. And then I'm telling you, like, this industry is crazy. Like, as soon as I hear like like I have an adductor strain or a groin strain,
what
I'm like, red flag.
What is
like,
adductor strain?
I'm
yeah,
like,
Jesus.
I have to refer you to someone else. So I had to navigate all of that.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
It's like, oh my gosh, hockey was like the worst. Like, people be like, yeah, I have hockey injuries. I'm like, I'm gonna take you to the physio.
So hockey is like a lot of
and I guess it makes sense, because like when you're on skates, like, you fall in a way where it's like splits, and like you can like strain, those like your thighs and your hamstrings and all those things, but I'm like,
right.
Especially when I was working from home, like I had to be very aware of who I was inviting into my space. So like, I got to a place where like, I had to like go to the army store. Nothing ever happened to me, thank God. But just because of all the messages, like I was like, let me just like get some like mace or pepper spray.
Holy shit, that bad.
Like just because of the messages.
Right.
Like, thankfully, like I said, nothing happened, but I was like, I would just, because it's in my home, so it's like I want to feel more comfortable.
Safe oh my God.
Like
wow, yeah. Okay, well, that was really enlightening. Oh my God, I can't even imagine. Okay, well, so this space you have now, how did you find that space? How did you finance it?
Yeah, like this commercial space journey, July will be a year for us. It's been A real up and down, like a real up and down. Like so much growth has been happening this last year. I guess when I first found it, I was working, really actually closely with Tia. I had a Face had come out with a loan for Black entrepreneurs at that time, and I was still working from home. I was like, let me just apply and see what happens. And of course, I was really frustrated with the application process and
That website sucked ass. It's true.
It was like, I thought it was going to be
Yeah.
not barrier free, but I thought it was going to be way easier than what it was. And it seemed to feel like it was the same process as every other loan.
I think it's even a little bit like, I just think the website, if I'm thinking of the same program, I think the website was just clunky.
Oh yeah, it was always down.
Yeah.
It was like down all the time. And but I pretty much got to the end of it, and I had literally given everything in my kitchen sink, like my soul, like everything. I was like, they have literally access to my whole life.
Right.
And then there was like either one more thing that they asked for, and I was just at the end. I was like, I don't care about this money. I don't want it anymore. And Tia, I was mentoring for her program at the time. And so I was sharing with her what was going on. And she was like, well, let me just go over your application and let me just go through the correspondence and see what's going on. And she gave me some feedback. She was like, your business plan is amazing. She's like, your application is very thorough. She's like, you're right at the end. Like, don't give up. Like, you just need one last thing. I know it's frustrating. She's like, just you have to go through the process. And that's kind of like a saying that's like really stuck to me. It's like, you have to go through the process. Like, yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, it's stripping. But what's the end goal that you want? Like, you have to really kind of go through that really difficult process to get there. So I was like, all right, let's just do it. I finalized the application and got approved for this loan that was like not even 30% of what I asked for. So it was like a very small loan. And I was like, okay, well, I'm still going to move forward with my plan of having the clinic, which was actually a really stupid idea because I'm like, honestly, it wasn't smart because I had 30% of the financing that I needed to build this dream. And I was like, well, let me just go to the most expensive part of the city and build up this commercial space. I was like, well, the dream is there. The vision is there.
Right.
I have a little bit of the money. I was like, let's just keep pushing and see if we can make it work. So, I secured that lease and everything, and obviously ran out of money in like
seconds.
just no time.
Right.
So I was able to apply for another loan with Credit Union Atlantic, who were very easy to work with and very helpful. They actually gave me double what the initial loan was. So it really helped us to kind of bring that space to life. And it was just, even when I was like, I don't know what the next step is, I already had the business plan laid out. So I already did all that groundwork, right? I already had the foundation there. So all I had to do was go back and be like, okay, so what's my next step? Like, when do I hire staff, or which equipment do I need, or who do I talk to next, and who do I want on my team? So I just kind of always go back there.
That is what I was going to ask you next. How did you, when was the right time to get staff, and how do you decide on the people that work as therapists in your clinic?
Staff. Oh Lord, that's a very that's a very good question, because I think I hired staff too early because the place wasn't even established yet. We didn't even have an employee structure. We didn't have a structure of. I had never managed people before, so I was like, okay, now I'm trying to hire all of these people. And how am I going to make it work? I didn't even think about it. I was like, people are going to just come work, and we're going to have clients, and we're just, things are going to work out smoothly. And it was not the case at all. Like my staff were pretty much hired the day the clinic opened.
Oh, wow.
And so I had promised a lot of things that I definitely could not deliver on because um, I I was new to this market. Like I was new to like the downtown market and being in a commercial space and like how that would work and all these new overhead costs. So I mean, my staff always got paid, don't get me wrong. Like everyone got paid and everyone got the benefits that they were supposed to get. But it was really interesting to now understand what it means to actually have employees versus like independent contractors, to develop this HR policy, to learn about taxes and corporate taxes and how much I have to pay to have employees. Like people think people work for me. Like nobody works for me. I work for everybody. Like I literally work for everybody. Nobody was like I was expending so much time and money and energy into having this team of employees. And, you know, it was interesting because knowing what an employee meant, there's expectations when you have employees versus when you have independent contractors. When you're contractors, you're more freelance, you have more independence. And in our industry, we're used to being independent contractors. So we can set our own schedule. We can do this, take our breaks when we want. We don't have to be on site when it's not needed. But then the employees, like, because they have all these extra benefits, there's a lot more required from them. So there was a little bit of friction. Like there was a lot of friction with that.
Oh, because like they're used to things being a certain way, and now
yeah. Like I found that everyone wants the benefits of being employees, but the exchange was not something everyone was used to.
They want to eat their cake, then have it at the same time.
Yeah,
it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, yeah. So it brought us to a really interesting space as a business and as a company. Like I was like, do we now switch to contractors? And people didn't necessarily want to switch to contractors. So I was trying to figure out a way to balance everyone's needs, but still make the business sustainable. So now we're kind of in a space where we're like deconstructing a little bit, going back to like the basics and trying to figure out what type of model and structure works best for.
So it's always this learning process and
always
adapting.
Yeah.
How do you cope with that though?
You know what? It's funny because I don't think that I don't know how. It's not like I don't get stressed, but I don't let it affect. Like I'm a very hopeful person, so like people can be quitting on me left, right, and center, and I'm like, that's fine. I'm like, we obviously weren't meant to be in this partnership together, so like, well, somebody else will figure something else out. Like our books would sometimes not be balancing, and my accountant will call me and she's like, girl, are you okay? Like things are looking pretty like starving over there. I'm like, oh yeah, like it's all good, we'll figure it out. And I think it has a lot to do with my spirituality personally. Like I think that's what a lot, like I grew up in a very spiritual household, and like I always had hope in something. So and I'm very like solution focused. I know that like if something doesn't work out, there has to be another answer somewhere. So, and I like to exercise, like to spend time with like my kids, my family, things that make me feel like nourished. I'm very good at doing that. Like if I need a day, if I need to like close down for a little bit, like I just went to Costa Rica for a wellness retreat for 10 days. And, despite everything that was kind of going on in the business, I was like, this is something that I need right now. My oldest son needed it too. Like we needed this time together. So I'm just going to go take it. I think it's just my perspective on life in general just helps me kind of get through all that stuff.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a film. Anyway, I can't remember the title now, but there's a song, and I just use that as a theme of my life. I'll always look at the bright side of life.
Yeah.
So when the sky is falling and all this is happening, I'm that person that's gonna look. But you know what? This is something good that is happening,
Yeah.
and that kind of just keeps me navigating. Cause like you said, things will be nice and then things will go back.
Yeah.
But as long as you're adapting and learning in the process, you'll come out a lot better than
That's true.
something you're doing now is this thing with Tribe. I found out about it. I'm like, holy smokes. Before we actually get to the thing with Tribe, why is like health, wellness, and especially with mental health, like why is that important to you?
I think, you know, it's we've gone a little bit far away from ourselves in a way that like there's always this kind of pressure in this side of the world to like produce and be a product and to just expend all this energy, and there's a lot of isolation, like even within families, like parents to kids and siblings to each other and grandparents to grandkids and things like that. And everyone's kind of busy, like everyone's just so busy doing their own things, and with that comes a lot of disconnection, and I think like a lot of deeper stuff like poor mental health and poor self-image, and of course, that leads to like poor physical health and things like that as well. um it's definitely important to come back to ourselves in order to live a more fulfilling life and to not just be going through the motions.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like we're here for such a short time, and if you really just like sit and think about it, it's like, you know, if you really just think about like in 30 years this is going to matter, or in 50 years I'm going to be like passed on to another world, like is what I'm stressing about right now, it was what I'm prioritizing right now really that important? Yeah, I mean, with the question, why is mental health and wellness so important? Like, it's important to every like place in ourselves and in society. Like, if we can work on ourselves, then the economy gets better, the social health gets better, the world gets better, the climate will change. Like, there's a lot of there's a lot of there's a lot of importance to coming back to ourselves. I think about my kids, like, there's a lot of influence now online with like TikTok and mental health and crime, and kids have access to everything. And I want to make sure that like, that my kids are doing well, because they're even having conversations like teenagers. We had this thing at the high school yesterday with a kid.
The stabbing.
Yeah, not yesterday, but a couple days ago, that kid stabbed his principal and a bunch of, some other people, like 3 other people. And I'm talking to my kid about it, and he's like, oh yeah, like I have, 12-year-old friends who are struggling with mental health, who are, wanting to not live anymore and things like that. I'm like, these kids are 12.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what is the breakdown? Where is the breakdown? And I think it's because of that dissociation, that isolation, that disconnect from ourselves and each other. So, I'm all about bringing that awareness back to ourselves first, and then having that trickle into every other area of our lives. So.
Wow, that's powerful. So let's get into the thing with Tribe. What
Yeah.
you want to share a little bit about that?
So Tribe is doing their Build program, which is, I believe, a 16-week program that's built on entrepreneurship and skill building and resources and networking and things like that. And we had gone back and forth about adding a wellness component to it, because obviously Black entrepreneurs Black entrepreneurship has its own challenges in general. Entrepreneurship itself is a crazy space to be in. Black entrepreneurship is even crazier. How do we incorporate wellness into that? How do we focus back into like our Afrocentric ways of taking care of ourselves? Because we don't have employers taking care of us. We don't have benefit packages that we can utilize. We don't have anything. As entrepreneurs, we're really on our own. So how can we make sure that we're not neglecting that part of ourselves, so that we can make sure that this lifestyle is more sustainable?
Wow. Yeah, I read about that project. I signed up right away because, when you are As like an entrepreneur, sometimes you kind of, it's not you're doing on purpose, or you kind of put yourself in this silo because you just, I need to make this work, I need to take care of this, I need to,
Yeah.
and then you forget that while you're taking care of all those things, you're not even taking care of the person,
Yeah.
that's doing all these things, and then God forbid you now, you have crashes and like, oh
Yeah.
man, you're just burn out.
You need that mental, emotional, and spiritual stamina. Like you have to be equipped inside of yourself to ride the highs and lows because there's going to be so many. There's going to be a lot of hopeless days. There's going to be days when you're like, well, dang,
Where did
like, what did I do? I made a really poor decision. Or this door keeps closing. I'm not getting any opportunities. Like, how can you be like, how can you endure those things if you're not well, like on the inside? Those things could really push somebody over the edge.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean?
That is powerful. Yep. No. That's totally. So yeah, let's talk about Blue Nile. One thing I love is that you have these journals on your website you sell.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the journal.
Yeah, it's a 30-day. I have the 30-day self-care journal. And then I have the 90-day abundance planner. I have a 28-day chakra cleanse. I have all these kind of guides that, like, the real goal in all of them is just to give people an opportunity to go back to themselves. Like, focus on self-awareness. Even if you can't change something, even if you're not ready to change something, by spending that time with yourself to be like, okay, how am I feeling about this, or how am I approaching the situation? All of them are kind of similar in that way. Yeah. And really, really geared, the chakra guide is geared more towards the spiritual health, energetic health, and then the 90-day planner and the 30-day self-care journal. Those are geared to anyone, but really useful for entrepreneurs.
I thought so, because when you have something where every day at a certain time I'm gonna do that, it keeps you focused.
It does.
And okay, I'm gonna check this. I'm gonna check this. Yeah. So Blue Nile, this thing with Tribe, you have a lot of tongues in the fire, but you're also a mom.
Yeah. I know.
There was this. I love your Instagram, by the way. There was this post you showed where it's like you have to buy 2 of everything.
Like the bills. I'm like, geez, it's crazy.
So how do you do that balancing act? Between being an entrepreneur and a mom.
I don't know. I literally don't know. Like, what works for us? So I co-parent like really well. So actually not really well, but we co-parent. We're just co-parenting.
Right.
So like, my oldest, he'll go to his dad's on the weekends. And then the twins, like we do kind of 50-50. So I do get like a break.
No, not 50-50. Like you get one, I get one. I'm fucking around.
Oh yeah, no, not like that. No, although we did start it because they're very attached to each other, and we're trying to like allow them to develop their own personalities. Right. So it's really interesting. So sometimes like he'll go with his dad or he'll go with me, and then we'll switch just for a couple hours,
right,
just so they can have that full attention. Yeah. But yeah, like everybody's involved in my house. Like when it's me and the kids, like when it's at night, when it's the 3 of us, or a weekday when it's 3 of us, everyone's involved. So my son, like, I make sure that he's down, he's like helping out with us, and he's spending time with us. I'll make sure like he's either helping with the kids so I can get supper ready, or I'll make sure the twins have tasks to do so that they feel like they're engaged and like responsible for things. Everyone's put to work at my house. Like everyone has to do something.
Right.
If I'm doing something, everybody has to do something as well. But at the same time, we do have a lot of time where we rest and we just chill out. I'm not so big on like, we have to sit and eat every meal. Like if people are not hungry, I'm not forcing them to eat because I don't want to stress myself out. I'm not fighting with anybody to do anything. Like, if they want to stay up a little bit later, we're going to stay up a little bit later. we're all sleeping in the same bed. I'm not doing the nighttime routines. I'm not forcing anyone to sleep on their own. I'm already tired, so we're all just gonna sleep together. Yeah, we're just kind of going with the flow in the house. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and then how do you take care of yourself?
I like to be physically active. So in the morning, I always make sure that I don't start my work day until I have a chance to go to the gym or go to yoga or do something like that. Because I have to, my first time of my day has to be for me. That's, of course, after I get the kids ready and drop them off to daycare. I have my gym stuff on, and I'm going to make sure that I exercise first, because I can't put myself at the end of the day, because by the time the end of the day comes, I don't have any energy. So first part of the day is for me. And for me, it's sustainable stuff. I usually have a jug of water. I'm making sure I fill that up, drink that multiple times a day. I'm mindful of what I eat. So anything that I pack, I'm making sure like it's balanced. I have like fruits in there, vegetables in there, whatever. Yeah, I try not to engage. I don't watch the news. I don't, anything that I catch is usually from other people. Just kind of simple things like that. Yeah.
Oh. I'm learning so much about you, about Blue Nile. And before I let you go, I want to ask this question. You learn from some of the mistakes you've made and the things you do to keep yourself and your business going. But wait, if someone is like, okay, I'm watching this, I'm listening to her talk, and I want to push forward and I guess start my own business or do something along those lines, what advice would you have to share?
Yeah, I have a couple things. The first thing is definitely mentorship. Like, get a mentor, someone who can elevate you, take you to where you want to go, someone who inspires you, who's in a position that's different than you. You can't have a mentor who's in the same place in life as you. You want someone who is in a position that will elevate you and bring you up. Community, so building that community with other Black entrepreneurs. And I say this often, like, your friends and your family don't have the same risk tolerance as you. They don't have the same problems and solution-focused mind as you do as an entrepreneur. They will not see your experience and your struggles and your challenges the same way as other entrepreneurs, particularly other Black entrepreneurs. So surround yourself with a community of them. Black Women in Excellence, obviously, really great for Black women entrepreneurs. Tribe is really good for all Black entrepreneurs. I'm very lucky to be connected to both. And the most important thing is, start small. Build your team slowly. Build your business slowly. Figure out the solutions to small problems first. And if you can do that, you can figure out the solutions to bigger problems later. Don't just go from 0 to 100.
Right.
You have to take those. You have to make sure you're building those foundations first. Yeah.
I mean, you can't. You have to crawl first, then you walk, then you run, then maybe you can fly.
Exactly.
Oh, Fantanesh, it's great talking to you. Thank you so much for coming to the podcast.
Thank you.
You know what? I think you should, and this is like me just spitballing here, but I think, you should do like a documentary.
Oh, yeah?
About Blue Nile, but instead of it being called Blue Nile, like, it's not a real documentary, but you call it that first name.
Okay.
Because that is a TV show's name.
Really?
I swear to God. Yeah.
You like it?
Like, yeah. Like, for a wellness center, it might not be the best, but for a TV show, wouldn't you want to watch a show called Fantanesh?
I don't know. I'm a little traumatized from that word.
Anyway, thanks so much for coming today.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.